Finally, a nice sunny day. A little chilly to start the day, but it's going to warm up quickly. The only hurdle we have today is the qualifiers start at 11, so we're trying to get started early. I know you guys said, I said 8:05 start. They were a little slow at Starbucks today. I went to the one at Brunswick. I gambled. I took a risk, and it did not pay off. The baristas or whatever, they're pretty slow today. Little tardy. Sort of likely to be about an 8:10 start. I asked everybody to have their equipment ready and everybody ready to go on the track as soon as they get there. And we're going to try and get all 6 sets done before. It's not just the qualifiers. We'll be done before the qualifiers, but remember, everybody starts warming up at 10 o'clock. So you're going to see a pretty congested racetrack by the time we go on the track with our last set. Maybe even our last 2 sets. But not for our first couple, and they'll be coming up in a few minutes. I haven't heard of any changes today, which is good. You'll note we scratched 2 horses today, Jailbird Jog, and why can't I think of the other horse? I did this the other day. Jailbird Jog and Aunt Sarah. Both those horses, Dr. Tessa looked at, and Jailbird Jog's splints are healing up good, but she was a little tender on her left front, her knee a little bit. No swelling, nothing worth x-raying or getting too concerned about. Just today we're going to be going a little tiny bit harder, and Doc said, you know what, she's one of both these fillies, are 2 of your best fillies. Missing a training session wouldn't hurt since neither of them generally miss. And I'm talking about Aunt Sarah and Jailbird Jog. Aunt Sarah's stifles were a little filled up. I guess not filled up. A little tender to palpation. Dr. Tessa thought. He said put a little scurf on them, and maybe her also, because she's been going so hard. Wouldn't hurt to give her a week. Now, this wasn't a recommendation as much as a request. He said, can they get the week? Where are they at? And I said, no, they're both top of their class almost. Jailbird Jog, now that we got her splints crowd, now that we know that her knees are bugging her a bit, I've always viewed her kind of myself quietly as top of the class, or one of the top of the class. Even though we don't talk about her enough, my belief and my understanding is she'll get there, not because of her breeding or because of anything other than her grit, determination, and her gait. She's got a powerful, powerful gait, and I suspect that will serve her well over the next month or 6 weeks, and is probably through the rest of 2025. That's my belief with her, and Aunt Sarah has been at or near the top of the class, and I don't remember her ever missing a training day, so to miss one certainly isn't going to kill her. So that was a no-brainer, so to speak. I'd said to Dr. Tessa, yeah, no problem doing that. They've been great. They can have the day off. So that's exactly what we're doing. They're probably jogged already and getting ready for lunch. No other issues that I can see. I've been very, very happy with the babies, and I am, as you can probably tell, really excited about today. And I had just sent a note out to our guys saying, listen, it's going to be sunny throughout the morning. It's going to start to warm up, but we don't want to really drop the hammer on these horses. We're going to go sub 220 today, but I don't want to do it with last halves in 1:1 and 1:02 and last quarters in 30 seconds. Make no mistake, the vast majority of our horses, they can do that. We don't have to prove that today. Today, what I'd like to do is go around 215, 216, somewhere in there, but do it in a much more even way. So I made it very simple. Look over your shoulder. If you're on the front getting into the last turn, look over your shoulder, see where everybody is, and make sure we're all kind of in striking range coming out of the last turn, and then we all get to trot or pace down the lane together. There doesn't need to be any big last quarters. That will come. It doesn't need to be here on April 17th. So that's the plan for today. Last night we had a good night at the office. A little recap. 4 for 4. We were all second in all 4. I love to see Tyler Angus do good, but I didn't want to see him do quite as good in the last race. I thought that Jim Bree was going to hang on. I didn't feel the immediate danger from Chris's filly, Toots, whatever her name is, Toots on top. And I thought that, just off, Tyler's horse didn't show a whole lot, and for him to run me down in 58, 57 and a piece was unlikely, I thought, around the last turn. I just wanted to keep Jim Bree advancing and then try and put him away and hang off Chris, and hang on to beat Chris down the lane. But instead, it turned out to be quite the opposite. Tyler run me down right in the shadow of the wire and beat me. But Gymboree raced good. I think that scattered schedule we gave her, I thought would serve us well, and she'd be fine. And in turn, I think it might have been our undoing for last night. I'd like to see her come right back in 7 days and see how she does in 7 days. Now, I usually have 2 pairs of sunglasses in my car. 2. And I have none today. 0. It's all right. Fixed. And then we had Vehement raced really, really well also. I was really happy with what I saw from him. I don't see him bouncing forward in gigantic leaps and bounds, but I definitely saw him advance last night. He's growing up, he's filling out, and you wouldn't think that about just a 4-year-old or whatever, but he is getting better. He does feel better. And as that gait starts to clean up, because he still has a choppy gait, as it cleans up, he has to go faster. It just seems like the smallest of baby steps every single week. But he's doing well on the track, and that's the main thing, getting him in. That's been, as I said, if you were to ask me right now, name one horse that had real struggles to get in, I think in my entire life and career in horse racing, I've never seen anybody as hard luck as Vehement. So hopefully we can get him back on track and racing on a full-time basis. And I think at that point you're going to see him come forward in a big way. Mounts for All, I spoke to Stacy last night and I said, listen, I see he was in the straight numbers of 9,000. I didn't know that. I have no interest in racing our horses over their head, right? So if you call the race office and they say, hey, that 10 claimer, non-winners or whatever, he's not getting in, then just don't enter him. We'll race him in the non-winners at 30 here. Now, we couldn't race at the Meadows this week, so I'm sure that played a role also. But I'd said to her, I have zero interest in going on the track at 38-1. When we know when we enter our horse, that's likely where we're going on the track. He could have had the 2-hole or the 3-hole last night, and he still would have been longer odds. And you don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. It's not good for Brett. And it certainly goes kind of against what we're trying to do. We had the ability, listen, I'll bring him right back up to Northfield and stuff him right in that 30 claimer. And with a smile on my face, if that's what's going to happen as far as getting in tough, we still have that one win here at Northfield Park. So we have a buffer, so to speak, for Miami Valley into Scioto. So I said, Stace, if he's not going to get in the, whatever it is, 40 claimer or whatever it is, non-winners of 10, which is fine, that happens. Just don't enter him. We'll race him up here at Northfield, and it won't be long until Scioto opens, and then we should be able to get in a little more often, I hope. And if we can't, then we'll make do also, because we're not talking about a horse that only has one path, right? You could race Mounts for All anywhere. Northfield, Meadows, Southern Ohio, Ontario, Yonkers, Meadowlands, Poconos. He can race anywhere competitively, but not in the non-winners 9,000. Those horses are a little salty for him just yet. I'm not saying he can't get there. I'm just saying there's no reason for him to be there just yet. So, not the end of the world. He got some good experience last night, and again, I'd say by the looks of him too, Stacy's got him moving in the right direction as far as his muscle count is concerned. So he should be back to normal next week. Next week should be a much better performance for him. Now, Melisandre, I thought Melisandre raced great last night. I was really happy with her. She didn't post breathe the greatest. I told you, a little clappy. It just felt like the track, her feet were bothering her. But man, I checked her feet after. They were cold. There was no little pulse. There was no pulse in her feet. So maybe her knees are just bothering her. Maybe just a little growth thing with her. But Dr. Latessa will be going over her this morning very early, and we'll get a true read on what's going on with Melisandre. I don't think it's anything serious. I think it's just minor maintenance. But she was not anywhere near 100% last night. But the effort she put in was. So I'm very, very impressed with her. I know, when you look at her, you say, well, she's second in 59, Anthony. Guys, the track was not at the greatest last night. I thought she raced very, very good. I was happy with her. And I'm going to tell you, off 2 weeks with a light training, now we're going into 7 days later. I think you're going to see a much better Melisandre race in the final. I believe she makes the final of the series that she's in. And then the the only horse, as I said, I watched the replay. I can see where the judges would have some concern in regard to Memento Mori and the trip he got, but make no mistake, you have to take it in, as I said to them, you have to take it into context, right? He's the only horse in the entire race that's 1, 3, and 2, has an entire stake season ahead of him. It's his first start without hobbles on it, his first start of the season. And quite frankly, if you watch, to get him into the passing lane was not seamless. He did get out of gear a couple of times, and then once I got him moving, it was obvious I was going to be second. There was no need to chase him or beat on him or kick the earplugs or do whatever. I thought the horse raced well, but if we're talking about a 6 claimer and that was the race, okay, fine, call Anthony. Not that particular race. So I made it very clear that there was a lot going on to that. Well, 2 things. First, I've never in 28 years of my life as a driver ever got a call for, hey, that was you weren't driving him hard enough or her hard enough. Never happened. Never would happen. And secondly, you just have to take last night's race into context and understand the entire storyline, not just a horse race, but what was going on in that horse race and with Memento Mori. And gamblers can say it means nothing. Of course it does. If you don't pay attention to that, then not a very good gambler. You think that I'm just going to go out and blast Memento Mori last night, just because I can. There's a lot of moving parts in a horse race. And when it comes to Memento Mori, full stake season, first start on a half-mile track also, aside from his qualifier. First start with no hobbles on in his first start of the year. So but I don't blame them. Listen, when you looked at it, I guess I wasn't completely shocked with the phone call, but they're doing their job and I'm doing mine, and in this particular instance, there's no smoke and no fire. It was pretty paint by numbers from where I sit. And then Yo Mister, just a bad drawn bugger right now, right through the 8-hole. Like I said, he draws anywhere south of 6. I'm sure Brett is on the move very early off the car with him. Last week I think he made front, but wasn't the last one to the lead. When he let one go, he didn't race as good out of the hole. He races much better on the front end, I think, this horse. Somewhat. Used to be he didn't, but his best work of late has been on the front end. So I think you're looking at a much better race from him next week. So all in all, a pretty good night. I think he grabbed a bone with Yo Mister. I think we did. I'm not sure though. Memento Mori, Melisandre, Vehement, and Gymboree, all with very good seconds. And again, the horses in Southern Ohio, I think, got smaller spoils, and if not, they just get folded out. But a good day at the office. Tonight we have Grand Slam Dio again. That liver count is coming down, but it's ever so slowly. I think the other thing about tonight, I talked to Harry and said, geez, those hobbles look a little snug. He said, yeah, I thought so too. I said, just go ahead and let them out. She'll trot. You're not going to have to worry about that. I let them out 3-4 holes for tonight. So we'll see how if that happens and how she is. I expect an improved race from her, but again, it's going to be that baby step situation until we get that liver completely under control and then Resolve Indeed. What are her odds tonight? 5-1. I thought she was a little flat last week, but again, horrible weather, muddy track. I expect a much better race from Resolve Indeed tonight. So I'm excited about today, but I'm also excited because I usually don't get that excited to go back home, but it's going to be nice to train the babies again on Saturday, and also to get to the baseball game with Ollie and Addie and Ava. Addie's excited. She's super excited about tonight. About going to the baseball game. And then, of course, most importantly, I can't forget Amy's birthday on Sunday. So it's going to be you just love starting the day like this. We need more of these days to start. Hopefully it rolls right into the training sessions today, all 6 of them. We're also going to train Looks Like Money. I told you guys the plan with Looks Like Money was to train him up hard for a go this weekend, enter him at the Meadows, and if the Open doesn't happen to go, fine. We'll race him at Northfield, and then we'll aim for Scioto when it opens. But that is the plan for today. You are completely caught up. It's been another pretty good week. Listen, I wish the 4-2s were 4-1s last night, but I think everybody raced very, very well. So take care. Have a great day also. I will be on the track. I'm exiting now. I'll be on the track in 8 minutes. It was supposed to be an 8:05 start. It'll be around 8:11. We'll try and make it up as we go along. Take care. Have a wonderful day.